Hey guys, this is G from the F Word here to review Netflix's Mudbound. Now, from my understanding, it has been around for a bit, has been around different festivals, and has been getting a lot of buzz. I haven't been paying attention, so I just saw it on Netflix, and I thought I'd give it a shot. And my God, am I glad I did. This is gonna be less of a good or bad review. This might as well be in our FES series, because I don't think I'll be able to come up with anything bad about this, and not for any other reason, not because of the commentary on the movie has, or anything like that. This is a damn good movie. So it's about two families, one white, one black, in Mississippi, during World War II, and then shortly thereafter of World War II. They both have sons, one played by Garret Hedlund, and the other one played by Jason Mitchell, okay? And both those sons are in World War II. They're fighting against the Nazis. One on the ground, manning a tank, the other one in the air. So the two families are the McCallan family, which is our white family, and then we have the Jacksons. So the title's called Mudbound because they are bound by, I guess, literally speaking, the land that they have, the mud beneath the houses that they reside in. The Jackson family is renting theirs, and the McCallan family has theirs on the opposite end. I'm not going to say that they help each other out, because they don't. The big thing with this movie is that it speaks to racism, of course, in a very, very sad way, almost the same way we speak about it today. The Jackson family are free for the most part, and in the 40s, you know, they still had buses that had coloreds in the back. They weren't allowed in most places to roam freely. If they did go into a store, specifically in one scene they showed it, they had to go out the back. They couldn't go through the front. And the people in the towns and around Mississippi made sure they knew that. And it was very hard to watch because they weren't slaves, but they were still treated as such. The Jackson family had their land that they were taking care of. They were renting. All they had to do was get their farm and everything. But the McCallan family, specifically Pappi, who you might remember as Mike from Breaking Bad, and Jason Clarke, he was most notably, he was in Terminator Genesis. He was also in the Planet of the Apes movies, I believe in the second one. They don't treat them like slaves, but they still make sure that they know they have the upper hand. And Hap Jackson, the father of the family, who's also married in the show to Mary J. Blige's character Florence, they're very strong individuals. Hap just is happy for what he has, works very, very hard, provides for his family as much as possible, and does whatever he can for his wife and kids, and his community. He's also a preacher with their community. They also, you know, he's working on building a church and everything. Jason Clarke's character, Henry, is a very sad individual. Originally, he was gonna go move into this other farmhouse with more houses, but he ended up getting screwed because he never put anything on paper. He just had a handshake deal, and then they end up in this smaller shack, which is very similar to the Jackson family's shack. He is living very much like them. And it is very ironic to watch the way that he treats them, and specifically Pappi, and yet they're living the exact same lives a farm away from each other. The two standouts in this are Hap and Jamie. Hap played by Rob Morgan, and Jamie played by Garret Hedlund, which you've probably seen Garret Hedlund. He was in Four Brothers. He was in the Tron movie. He's been in a couple of things. I've always thought he was a decent actor, but, you know, this is a whole other level. This is definitely up there. And Rob Morgan, who plays Hap, just, my God, he was incredible. Also in this, his wife Florence, as I mentioned, is Mary J. Blige. Now, Mary J. Blige's character is very different in this, where she displays a lot of strength with very, very minimal dialogue. You can tell that she does carry the strength of her family. As much as Hap is out there and working and everything like that, at one point something happens to him, and she is the one that just quietly displays her strength and carries the family on her shoulders. Their kids as well are helping out. Roncel, played by Jason Mitchell, who you might remember as Eazy-E in Straight Outta Compton, is another great character in this. I mean, I saw him in Straight Outta Compton. He was my favorite part, and he was extremely good. The show itself does something a little bit different. It starts off with a scene that you don't realize until the very end, okay? So when you get past that first scene, before the credits or anything, you know, keep that in the back of your mind, because it will come back. And when it comes back, oh my Lord, I definitely don't want to give much away. The show does follow each of the characters that we have, both families, a lot of individual characters. It carries them. They all have their own voiceovers over what's going on in their lives. And then it changes a lot when both their sons, both Jamie and Roncel, come back from war. Two very different people and have gone through a lot. Not together, but they were there. They would have most likely crossed paths, and they share something that they can bond over, something that they can talk about as soldiers of war. And it changes in a very difficult, very sweet, very bitter, sweet, tragic way. And where it ends up just breaks your heart. I had a tough time towards the end of this in a good way, because I don't do well with these types of movies. This is a type of movie that, you know, much like your 12 Years a Slave, that you kind of only watch once. It'll stick with you forever. And it's very difficult to say, oh, we're going to put this on. You need to see this movie. I'm not doing a good or bad. This is straightforward. You need to see this movie. This is a beautiful, dark, tragic story of not just these two families, but the culture that is surrounding them at that point, where racism is still very, very prevalent. As one article I read put it, instead of them being ordered, these requests are put in of, you know, the Jackson family from the McCallans, but it's put in such a way where their boot is still on the neck. There's a lot of bright spots that happen in this between these two families that, you know, are essentially just trying to survive year to year. You know, you're hoping that it goes one way, it goes another. You're hoping that it goes in a way that will tie this up in a bow, but real life does not tie in itself a very nice bow. It is very real. It is very difficult to watch. Specifically, one scene will break your heart. It crushed me. And I have no other words for it. The only thing I can say is you have to watch this movie. It is a very important movie. If this movie does not get nominated for an Oscar, I will be very, very upset, very disappointed, because the performances in this were great. The story was tragically beautiful, and everything is realized in such a way that you are just left in awe. The only thing I tweeted out was just Mudbound wow, because I had to take a few hours. I saw this about 4 or 5 hours ago. Went about my day and came back to it finally so I can sit and do this review properly, because there was a lot of stuff I needed to process. I hope you check this out. I hope when it comes past Netflix, you invest your time, sit down, watch the whole thing, digest it. Dee Rees, who's the director of this, who I should have mentioned in the beginning, I haven't seen much of her work. I think she's more into that indie. This is definitely something that will bring her to the forefront of a lot of people's minds, as it should. This is a very, very good movie. And again, this is going to, by what you've seen by some tweets and articles, this will crash the Oscars, and as it should. Guys, that's my review of Mudbound. Please take a look at this movie. Do yourselves a favor, and you'll appreciate what is in front of you. Very few movies like this come around often. I know we're all stuck in the superhero stuff. Again, so do I, as you can see behind me, but you take the time to watch these movies and appreciate them, because they're still out there. And these are movies that are worth seeing. That's my review. And I am out.